Hey everybody, how you doing today? This is your buddy's pal Anthony. We are trying something new today. As you can see, we have Salvatore with us. Sal had an idea. Both Steve and I were fans of it, so I'm not going to take from the man. Sal, what are we doing here today?
So today we're working on something different called, our show is going to be called a Snap. And the way this is going to work, it's a combination of a what if and how it should have ended. It's going to be that we're going to pick our Nexus event from one of our favorite pieces of media. Doesn't matter what it is, comics, movies, TV shows. And the plan is to snap and make it balanced, as all things should be. Whatever we decide to pick, every show will be different. Maybe we'll do a poll and have you guys, chip in. It has to be divergent. It has to change enough, not just to change the one instant. It has to change the history of what piece of media we're talking about.
Yeah, and we are also, not to take away, we are also going to ramble because that's just what you and I do normally. So, because we can't fix everything, and we can't fix everything. We have to still kind of shoot the shit on current events and whatnot. But I like this, Steve liked this, and we're going to start light today. We're going to fix something that, some of you guys may have heard of this little franchise. It's called Star Wars, and we are going to fix the prequels. So,
well, we're going to ruin everything.
I mean, Disney and Kathleen Kennedy did that.
We're fixing the sequels by starting with Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
So I had this idea. I was thinking, what if Mace Windu killed Palpatine in the office? And I know it's been done before. It's been done to death. There's probably videos all over YouTube. But I want to take a different approach. Let's say Mace Windu shows up to Palpatine's office. He shows up, he has his squad with him, he's got his 3 guys, he's got Kit Fisto and the other 2 Jedi Masters. And he's going to arrest Palpatine. Now, in the scene, they kind of have a long-winded conversation. Anakin shows up a little late. So Anakin shows up after Palpatine's already on the floor. Now, let's say, here's where I want to snap, right? Prior to Palpatine getting on the floor, we wouldn't even need the entire Infinity Gauntlet. We could do this with the Time Stone.
Yeah.
We speed up Anakin, just a pinch. And we have him make it to the office while they're still fighting. I want him to see Palpatine with the lightsaber spinning and screaming like a madman, because all he sees is Mace Windu has him at saber point on the floor. He never sees the exchange. So,
yeah. He does see the lightning, but by that point he's already pretty confused, because from his point of view, I didn't even mean to do that. Sorry. From Anakin's point of view, yeah, like you said, Mace has him dead to rights, and then the lightning comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, but for all Anakin knows, that's like a last ditch effort type of thing.
We're also talking Star Wars, so it could have been tech, it could have been magic, it could have been Force lightning. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. So, all right. So we've snapped. So Anakin's there a little bit sooner.
Yeah. So Anakin sees the fight with the lightsabers.
Right.
So there's no question. Yeah, he's hanging back. There's no question that Palpatine is the Dark Lord of the Sith.
Right. And also, obviously, we're saying this is the Anakin that you've met and seen during Clone Wars, that gives him much more depth and reason to be kind of pissy, like you see him in Revenge of the Sith. Just putting that out there. So, okay, so we've snapped. He's gotten there sooner. We were talking before. Personally, for me, I'm good up to that point. Like, he sees everything. Anakin's hanging back. Mace gets him down, and then where it really, really, really starts to diverge is I think Mace doesn't give him a chance to get that lightning out. Right? I know we just said that, but to me, him seeing all that other stuff is enough of a diversion and changes things. Mace gets him on the ground, and Palpatine does that awkward shuffle back. I just watched the video. And then Mace he's made the decision. He's made the executive decision. This guy just owned 3 of my boys, like, you know, no sweat broken. I'm kind of barely hanging on here. That's it. He knows Anakin's there, obviously, and maybe Anakin's so dumbfounded because he's now in shock because he's like, this is my mentor, this is my friend. Oh my God, I've been a fool this whole time. So many things have gone wrong. What have I done? What have I done? And like he's questioning everything in his head. And then Mace just one swipe, heads off. And now Anakin has an issue with what Windu just did because Anakin's coming out of it. Remember, there was a fog over the Force, or I forget how they exactly phrased it, but there was a cloud.
I believe
that cloud was Palpatine.
Yeah, they phrased it as Palpatine being so powerful that he was able to cloud the entirety of the Jedi Council.
Right. So, okay, so that's where so if you're good with that, you have we've just beheaded Palpatine, and now Anakin and Mace is probably thinking, all right, we're good here. Let's go. We got a lot of stuff to fix, but what does Anakin do from here?
The only thing I would change, but what you did is I think Mace takes the lightning first before he finally makes his decision. Before he finally makes the decision that this guy has gone entirely too far. He takes the lightning, deflects it with the lightsaber, and at that point in the movie, there's a small conversation between the 3 of them, where Mace threatens Palpatine. Palpatine pleads to Anakin. Right. I think he should cut him right before that happens. Don't give Anakin a chance, because that's where Anakin starts making his decision. He starts throwing Padme back at him. He starts telling him that I can save her. And that's what's able to sway Anakin towards protecting Palpatine. I think the lightning should come first. That's the only change I would make for what you said. I think the lightning should come first.
Okay.
So now we have Palpatine split in 2. We have Mace Windu closing up his lightsaber, job well done, and Anakin's jaw is on the floor. Anakin says, how could you? What are you doing? This is, paraphrasing from the movie, this is not due process. There's no trial. They go through the same conversation where it's like, he is the Senate. He is the courts. There's no such thing as a fair trial. There was no way around this. This is the answer. And Anakin looks at Mace and says, we have to take this to the council. And Mace is like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
So they head off. Let's see. Now we're in the council chambers. Okay, we'll figure they get a Madivac team, they box up Palpatine, and Mace Windu wants to present him. Wrinkled face and all. Dark robes, wrinkled face, the lightsaber too. He wants to present them to the council. He wants to present them to Master Yoda. They get to the council.
Just to mention, remember, we do not have a live Yoda or Obi-Wan. They're off on Kashyyyk and other planet Obi-Wan's on, respectively, dealing with their stuff. Well, now, that'll be important.
Of course, because now you have all the heavy hitters that would be there. Shaak Ti, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Kit Fisto's dead. Obi-Wan Kenobi's off-world. Same way Shaak Ti and Ki-Adi-Mundi are off-world. Obi-Wan's
Yoda
off.
Plo Koon.
Yeah, Yoda and Plo Koon. Everybody's out in the field doing field work. So now we have Mace, and Mace is presenting the body to. We have half of them are holograms, 3 are dead, and maybe there's 2 or 3 other more that are physically in the room. And while Mace is presenting his issue, in walks Anakin. How can we do this? This is a travesty. We didn't go through the courts. There was no trial. There was no interview. How is this acceptable? Maybe Mace Windu throws him a little sass. Mace Windu kind of tells him, hey, know your place. I'm I'm the assistant Grandmaster, the assistant to the Grandmaster. And he kind of disregards Anakin. And as they're talking, Mace is still pitching his point. Anakin goes to cut in and step in front of Mace. And Master Yoda wants to hear what Mace has to say over Anakin. Anakin always comes across as a hothead. Mm-hmm. But everybody's approach is different now, because like you said, that cloud has been lifted. So where there wasn't foresight before, or where they would have had a greater foresight, now they actually have that. Now they can feel deeper into the Force. Much the same way Anakin can now feel deeper into the Force. Anakin, under Palpatine's influence, is very close-minded, very in the moment. So he steps in front of Mace. Mace kind of brushes him aside to address Yoda and tells him, "Know your place, Knight. This is a Council of Masters." At that point, this is going to be a big jump. At that point, Anakin reaches his moment of clarity. Anakin realizes, wait a second. So Palpatine was wrong, being a Dark Lord of the Sith. But Palpatine was right. This Jedi Council's out of control. The whole Jedi Order's out of control. There's only one answer. He turns, lights up his saber, takes Mace Windu's head clean off right in the Jedi Council high office. Right in the council chamber. Right there, in front of everybody.
Yep.
And closes his lightsaber immediately. He's not here for a fight. He's finally realizing the veil has been lifted. The council's a problem. The Grand Master of the Sith is dead. I'm the scion of balance. You know, I'm the Banff. I am the scion of balance. And I'm bringing balance. So as he cuts his head, he immediately closes his lightsaber. There's not supposed to be a fight here. And they move to arrest him, whoever is physically in the room. Maybe in self-defense, Anakin takes out one Jedi Master. Maybe he maims another, cuts another one's hands off. And Yoda's like, we have to get back here. You are on standby. We're making our way back to the council chamber. And Anakin takes a seat in Mace Windu's chair and says, I'll be here. What do you think?
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot so far. So to tweak a little bit, I think because in my head, after we spitballed a little bit, and in my head I kept kind of running with threads. Ultimately, I want to get to a place where, and do you mind if I jump like 20 steps ahead for a minute?
Go ahead.
So for me, ultimately, 20 steps ahead, I want Anakin to be pretty much what Ahsoka Tano is in Mandalorian Season 2. She's out there, she's doing her thing, she's a Jedi, not really a Jedi, excuse me, she's a gray Jedi, but she's still a lightsaber-wielding badass, and she's helping people. I like what you're saying, and I think there would be a little bit more of a fight just because, what do you call it? Yeah, I like Anakin, like, bringing peace, he has a huge internal, like, realization about what's going on, and he's thinking to himself, wait a minute, if they excuse this, if they allow Mace to sit back down with them, then everything that Palpatine was saying about the Jedi is right. They're going to excuse everything. They're going to take power. There's a lot of work to do. We can't have this guy who just decapitated this guy be in the room for all these conversations going forward. That's going to happen. Off with his head. Here we go.
Because now
I think about
he starts to feel like he isolated the problem.
Yeah, exactly. He feels like he cut out the cancer at this point. Mace did a good job, more or less, in cutting out the cancer of the Sith. As we know, because Clone Wars is canon in our theory, we know that Ahsoka has Maul all trussed up on his way to be delivered to Coruscant.
Oh man!
And by the way, folks, I spoiled that for him last night because he is way behind on Clone Wars. So whoopsie! But you should have seen his face when I told him about that. So anyway, 20 steps ahead. I want to get to a point where Anakin is a bearded, gray-haired Jedi Knight about kind of like the the gunslinger in the Old West movies, like how that would work with Padme and Luke and Leia. We'll get there, but that's like ultimately my thing. And then going back to where you were, I think a fight has to break out to get him there. I think he needs to not kill everybody, because really there's nobody that's, aside from Obi-Wan and Yoda, and now Mace is dead, that was at his level. So I think you're right. I think maybe he kills one or two of the other Jedi Masters that are in the Council Chamber, because maybe they're up there. But I don't really think I think even though they have the sheer numbers of the rest of the Jedi that are in the temple, I don't think there's anybody outside of that Council Chamber that's his skill level, that's really a threat to him now that Palpatine is out of his head, blocking everything off. So yeah, do a huge lightsaber fight. Let's see him knock the crap out of all these other Jedi, and then that helps get him to where I want him to be, because then how can he really stay in the chamber after this? The Order. How can he stay in the Order? He just killed the assistant to the Grand Master. He just killed one of the other guys. He's hacked off a couple of limbs. Some guy's got some really bad lightsaber burns. He blew out a couple of windows with force pushes. He wrecked the house. Yeah, you gotta go. I mean, you wrecked the house. You're out. You're out.
You're talking about the Scion of Balance, and you're talking about the Grandmasters, the most elite of the Jedi in this order. Even if it's three of them, okay, they got chumped by Palpatine, who ends up being one of the most powerful Force users in the entirety of Star Wars, in the whole galaxy. So it took 4 Jedi Masters to take him down. 3 of them got chumped. One of them is the second most powerful Master on the Council.
Yeah.
So, and now if you step into Anakin, this is going to be a fight. And it's going to get, you're wrecking the house. Like maybe Metropolis Man of Steel level wrecking the house, but that's a ramble for another time.
That's another time. Steve just shrugged his shoulders, kind of like a chill went across his spine. We love you, Steve. So coming back, if you're okay with the big battle happens, Obi-Wan and Yoda get there, and now remember, from Clone Wars, Anakin loves the clones. The clones love Anakin. Yeah, nobody's been there to drop Order 66.
He's a war hero.
Yeah, he's a war hero. He's the face. He's more or less one of the faces of the Jedi, because I feel like they showed that in one of the tie-in comics or the books or something. It was written that he is a hero across the galaxy. Everybody knows Anakin Skywalker. So Yoda and Obi-Wan get back, settle everything down. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of movies to make, because I didn't play the game, but I know of it, Operation Cinder. Yeah. When Palpatine dies in the original timeline for the first time, he had droids with a hologram recording that enacted Operation Cinder, which they mentioned in season 2 of Mandalorian, and that he has bunkers of Jedi knowledge, and I think other sort of kind of like Hitler. He was just destroying history. He was destroying Jedi history. I think he was destroying Republic history, Empire history. He was you know what? I lost. So here we go. I lost. I'm taking it with me.
Now you brought up a really good point. Something that I didn't quite cross my mind when we first started spitballing it. It leads us into a power vacuum, because now you have the highest ranking generals of the clone army kaput. Well, not kaput, but one of the highest ranking generals in the clone army is out. The Senate is without a chancellor, so there's a power struggle there. The Trade Federation, the Separatists, are without a leader. So now you have this huge power vacuum. You have senators fighting over the chancellor spot, who's for the Jedi, who's against the Jedi, again, who thinks Anakin's a war hero and who doesn't. You have the Separatists, who are mostly despots and war chiefs for Palpatine. They'll probably barely even be organized. How could they even put something together? They'll all be fighting each other. it really does throw the galaxy in a loop.
Yeah, and I mean, in a way, at that point, the real civil war begins, because now you're going to have, like you just said, you're going to have the people in the Republic fighting each other. You're going to have the people of the Separatists. They're really going to, like, those guys are going to start fighting each other. So, but, and again, everybody knows Anakin, but yeah, things are about to get, like, really dark. And, like, Order 66, did Palpatine have a way to enact that at the end? Did he not?
Mm-hmm.
In my goings on with this, what do you call it? Ahsoka. So now we're good with this Divergent. We're on the same page up to this point.
I just want to touch on one thing you said that I liked.
Sure.
I like the wandering the galaxy, because George Lucas likes westerns. Star Wars very strongly based on the idea of Western movies, spaghetti westerns. I like the whole idea of Anakin being a white hat, kind of being a wandering lawman, maybe Dirty Harry, kind of. He's a good guy, but he's taking extreme means where he believes he's still getting a good response. His methods might be gray, to say the least, but he's still positive. He's rough, almost like the Mandalorian, almost like Din Djarin, where he has a very rough approach, but more so in season 2, he's still doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that you touched on that. It's almost like a Kwai Chang Caine from Kung Fu, or any number of wandering hero. They go town to town every week, and we're gonna make a whole show out of that. Go town to town every week, bringing a little bit of justice, a little bit of wisdom. There's a story to tell.
If anything, he's a version of Knight Rider at this point, because he has R2 by his side.
Yeah. Well, could you imagine that too? Not to cut off where you wanted to go next, but he's wandering the galaxy. Ahsoka comes back with Darth Maul. It's him, it's Anakin, Ahsoka, Darth Maul chained to a post, R2-D2. And they're wandering the galaxy. I'd pay to see it.
I mean, yeah, I think Maul. How would they use Maul after that? Like he would be the dark side insider, excuse me. He would have the insight into the dark side and more of Palpatine's intricacies, and that would be a whole thing. Him playing to reveal Palpatine's plan, as much as he knew anyway, because he was only the apprentice and he was out of it pretty quickly. But
well, even at the end of Rebels, Rebels spoiler. If right before the big fight with Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine,
mm-hmm.
he's still talking about bringing balance to the Force. He's talking about bringing balance, not the same way Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Council spoke about bringing balance. It's balance from a different point of view. It's balance from a different perspective. So now, they have him, and he's not to be trusted anywhere else. So maybe Anakin takes him with him. But he's also like the devil on his shoulders, where Ahsoka might be the angel on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Where they're still looking for the same thing. They're still looking for balance, but my definition of balance and your definition of balance are two different things.
Yeah.
So it does.
And the road we take to get there.
Oh yeah.
Two different roads.
Two different roads.
Parallels maybe, but different terrain on those roads.
We might end in the same place, a little off point, but ultimately the same place by different means.
Yeah.
And I think he adds that. He adds that pinch of influence.
Oh yeah. He did that with Ezra throughout. What seasons was he in? He was really in season 3, and that was it actually. But yeah, through season 3 of Rebels, the same way he's kind of doing it with Ezra. But yeah, so Snap, we're all up to this point.
What are your thoughts on Padme? Because now,
I have a thought for her.
They don't really, outside of her dying, they don't touch on medical reasons. If I remember correctly in the movie, I didn't rewatch the clip. I should have before we started. She just kind of goes. Just all of a sudden, all her vital signs get trashed and she just drops dead. And I know the big theory is that it's Palpatine. She always needed to die. He doesn't get Anakin unless she dies. So there's two theories. One theory is Anakin in his grief kills her. The other theory is Palpatine does it because that's Anakin's nexus point. That's Anakin's point of nowhere, his absolute point. He needs that to happen to beat Darth Vader. Right. So killing Mace helps, but she has to die. And he has to not know about the twins until later. But
so you're saying you still want that?
No. I'm not saying I still want that. I'm saying she survives. Because they don't really touch on it if it's in the movie. They don't touch on it if it's a medical reason that she died, but it's strongly implied that it's Palpatine crushing her from the inside.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know if it was as graphic as him crushing her.
Well, no, I mean obviously ending her vitals.
Right. What I think I remember hearing, and if I didn't hear it, this is my belief then, that Palpatine kind of siphoned off her life force to keep Anakin going. Because Anakin's rage was doing it, but then he was really fucked up, so he was gonna die. And because there was always, I think there was something where also it was Palpatine and him shared some sort of life link, and Palpatine, because he was so overpowered, he gave Vader just enough to survive and use his own force abilities. So I think that was part of the thing. And again, it's annoying because you have to read a friggin' $50 book and find the one sentence that explains it. But I think Palpatine kind of basically vampired her life force into Anakin to keep him going through the procedures until the machines kicked in. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say we got to come back to Padme now. So
I'm not really read up on the novelizations, so I know it's like what you said. It's like we said. It's probably one line in a book that was written 15 years ago, and we missed it. But one other thing I wanted to touch on is that's the point you make about Palpatine is actually the only thing from a lore perspective, don't kill me, that I like about Rise of Skywalker. Is that they do. So I don't like that Palpatine survived, but I do like the idea that even if they weren't trying to put him in clones, he's so powerful, he just wrecks bodies. They got him up on this super life support system. He can't get out of the chair, otherwise he's done. He's hooked up to tubes and hoses, but his energy is so powerful. He's a mess so much that he just wrecks physical bodies. That's really the only thing from a lore perspective I like about Rise of Skywalker. The rest of it was pretty rough to watch, but
yeah. And actually, I think last thing, then we'll get back to the snap. I think I remember hearing or reading that the wrinkled old Palpatine you saw, they may have shown some lightning hitting him, but that wasn't like damage from the lightning. That was because the dark side in general wrecks its users because it takes away from them, and like you said, like we've said, he's so overpowered. That was just how he looked. He was so strong in the dark side of the Force. He basically looked like the crunchy old Palpatine that we saw in the original 3, in the end of Revenge of the Sith, and in Rise of Skywalker. He was always that screwed up. He put on the same cloud that he had in the Force hiding from the Jedi is the same sort of cloud or aura. Kind of like Quantum Leap, where Sam Beckett looks like a woman, or I think he leapt into a monkey or a black man or whatever he leapt into. He looked like that person. There was an aura around him, and it was the same thing. And by the way, real quick, rest in peace to Admiral Calavici, Dean Stockwell.
Yeah, cool. I think I remember reading in either one of the novelizations or one of the comics that actually was the point, that he looked like how he did in Revenge of the Sith. That's how he's looked for decades. And now it's finally, I can lift the veil. I'm no longer a politician. Not only am I no longer a politician, the Force is lightning being reflected back at me. I can use that. These are scars that the Jedi gave to me. Now I can just step out. I'm a beat up old man. Look at these brutes, these Jedi brutes. Look what they did to me. They mangled my face and my body.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so
Go ahead.
we got to get back.
Yeah.
Everything's happened. Yoda and Obi-Wan show up. Is it Obi-Wan or Obi-Wan? I always mispronounce that.
W.
Anyway, Yoda and Obi show up. Now I made him sound like a hick from the backwaters. And
Kenobi.
yeah, Padme's still there. Padme's gone to the temple because everybody's coming to the temple.
Yeah.
Because there's damage after this lightsaber brawl, like we've seen. Like we've said, excuse me. We're basically gonna have a huge exposition, and Anakin says his piece. This is why Palpatine, Mace did this. That was wrong. I did this. That was wrong. Everybody was wrong. Palpatine's been screwing us from the start. I don't know how he did this. And then you see Ahsoka come trotting Maul out. I got some information here because in the scene in the Clone Wars, she feels Order 66 go down. So if she's feeling that, I feel like the death of Palpatine and the death of Mace Windu in the Force would send out enough tremors for both her and Maul to feel.
Oh, yeah.
And then instead of in the show, what originally happens is Order 66 goes down, and then Ahsoka actually frees Maul as a diversion. She gets the chip out of Rex's head. That's how she finds out about Order 66, because Rex fights it a little bit. So the tremors happen. She talks to Maul like, all right, no games. Like, he actually gives her some good information. She shows up. She relays that information to them. Padme shows up, and we have a huge exposition. And we can now, like we said, there's a power vacuum on both sides. Mm-hmm. Straight to conflict. In my head, it's straight to conflict on the separatist Oh
front. Yeah, that's civil war. That's that's just all on chaos.
And then in the Republic, maybe it's not. Maybe there's still. I think there's still a civil war, but I don't think it's as violent because they got the clones on their side and the Order has been executed. So there's going to be chaos because after Ahsoka comes and tells everybody, there's going to be some people like Jedi even. You can have Yoda and Obi-Wan be like, these guys got to go. Mm-hmm. All ships with clones into the nearest sun. Let's go. You're out of here, guys. And then Anakin, who loved the clones, who saw them as more than clones, he's disgusted by this. He's like, no, we have to help them. They've been our allies this entire time. They didn't do anything wrong yet. And he starts the program to get the chips out of their head, at least as much as he can. Maybe, again, Palpatine had something, so some of Order 66 gets enacted so that the Jedi take a hit, and or there's a different order because there were a bunch of orders. Maybe instead of Order 66 just attacking Jedi, it's Order 69, where they also attack some of the Republic planets. This way, he's like, all right, well, whatever, take it out with you. There's an order to the droids, so the droids start attacking the separatist civilians. That happens. They put aside all this crap. They Anakin, the rest of the Jedi, Padme's organizing stuff on the political front. And we get out of this period of maybe another 2-3 years, and okay, you guys want to leave? We fixed this. We saved a lot of clones. Some of them were already gone. We destroyed the droids. Whatever. You guys still want to be separatists? Cool, but I mean, we've been through a lot. It's all come out to light, and let's figure it out. Let's heal. Padme, happy ending for her, I think. She has to be the new chancellor or whatever position, because maybe they'll restructure the government, but
they have to.
Because
you have to root out all the corruption. Because remember, Palpatine was the courts, Palpatine was the Senate. His influence, he's gonna have a problem. The problems in the Senate are gonna keep going on because he has guys that he's placed in, guys that he's been influencing. I think it's a little more than just bureaucracy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm not trying to simplify it. I just can't. I don't have the head for any of that shit. So, I'm a pretty face. Not that anybody on YouTube will ever know. But there's not much going on upstairs. Anyway.
There's one thing I want to clean up.
Please.
So Ahsoka feeling what happened.
Yes.
I feel like she would feel it because the veil is being lifted, right? They don't really touch on how far Palpatine's reach was in terms of reaching out into the galaxy with the Force, or if he had it like attuned to certain individual people.
Okay.
But the same way that she felt Order 66 would be the same way she would feel this now that that veil is lifted. The same way that, oh man, I had it and I lost it.
I hate that.
Don't worry about it.
It'll come back to you at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, when I'm calling you in the middle of the night, it's like, Tony, pick up the phone.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm at a fire. Well, you're like, well, you should really not be answering your phone then, should you, guy?
Yeah, I guess so. Guess I'll get you later.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, well, the lifting of the veil, so I'm saying that she felt Palpatine's death because he's such the overpowered dark side user.
Yes.
In the same way that, like, she felt all the Jedi dying because that was like a lot of, for argument's sake, a lot of little Force users dying at once. Oh wow, there's a huge vacuum.
See, what I feel, actually I remember it now. I think that at that point it wouldn't even be all the Jedi. I mean, it would be the overall darkening of the Force. But I feel like Palpatine would stop caring. Like, once Order 66 was enacted and a lot of Jedi started dying, Palpatine just lifted the veil. And Palpatine was like, this is what we got.
Oh, to say like, oh, don't need this if he survived. Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe that was part of it.
How the original timeline went, where it would have just been, okay, don't need the veil anymore. Well, who am I hiding from? I am the Senate. You know, like,
yeah.
So
he doesn't need to devote the power to clouding anybody's visions because
he sees it.
There's nobody left.
He's the Emperor.
Yeah. I got you.
What are your thoughts on the Council, the Order, afterwards? There's going to be Anakin loyalist. The guy was a war hero.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be another divergent point because the veil lifting, him seeing all this stuff, he doesn't want any of that stuff anymore. He doesn't have Palpatine in his ear saying, you should have been a master on the Jedi Council. That's why he wanders, because he doesn't care about it anymore. Exactly. I think after he stayed and he helped clean up stuff, I think it's known that he's Luke and Leia's dad and all that stuff. I think just because I want to get Anakin out there on his own for a while, I think he ultimately, like you said, there's Anakin loyalists, there's Jedi loyalists, there's some people who want Anakin to still take over, and he's like, no, we've fixed a lot of stuff.
Yeah. The
Jedi Order is back on a solid footing. I will not become the Sidious of the Jedi. I will not be there. You know, maybe there's no more. Like there's a council. There's not a head of the council. You know, it's just the round table. It's not King Arthur or Yoda at the somehow the roundness has a point to it because it all points to Yoda. It's a true. I'm circling my fingers like anybody can see. I apologize. Okay, so I'm sorry. Let me try to answer your question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like I said, all that stuff, and then Anakin's like, no, we've done a good job. We're on solid footing. The Jedi are the Jedi. I feel like I have to do this now. I'm leaving. I can't be what some of you want me to be now because I was getting manipulated for years by Palpatine, and now I see that.
Well, now
I'm not going to become. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Now he finally believes that he is the chosen one. I'm the Scion of Balance, and the whole point of this thought experiment that I wanted to do with the snap and changing it is that what's the point? What is balance? I heard somebody, man, I don't remember which content creator I was watching, but I heard something similar some time ago. What's the point of balance? It doesn't mean the Jedi win, because that's not balance. It doesn't mean the Sith win. You can't wipe out the Sith. That's unbalance. So now, Anakin's whole point is to bring balance. There has to be dark and light. There has to be equal dark and light.
Yeah.
So Anakin doesn't want to be king anymore. This has nothing to do. That might have all been Palpatine.
Oh, it definitely was.
Anakin sees himself finally as, I am the Scion of Balance. I am the one to bring balance to the entirety of the Force. And as much as I killed that lunatic, you guys are wrong too. So it definitely it brings a different approach to Anakin because they want him to be king. I don't want to be your king. This council shouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
But where does that leave Yoda and Obi-Wan? I don't think Obi-Wan goes, as much as Obi-Wan's his brother, I don't think Obi-Wan goes around with him.
No. I think they're gonna finally evolve a bit, Yoda and Obi-Wan, but Anakin can realize that like the harshness of the Sith ways aren't a thing to do. So he'll be cool with Yoda and Obi-Wan doing an evolved version of the Jedi Order where, all right, listen, you fall in love, cool. You got an issue, you want to talk about it, cool. You slaughter a bunch of Tusken Raiders, we'll talk about it. We won't just demonize you. They had it coming.
Whoa.
So, they deserved it. So I think everything's going to evolve. I think Yoda and Obi-Wan are still doing a version of, oh wow, we sensed this your child is very strong in the Force. Let us take him or her, we'll guide him, blah blah blah. But we have visiting hours on the weekends. It's mommy daddy time, or daddy daddy, or mommy mommy, whatever the hell they're doing these days. So that's where I think they go, and then I think Anakin, not quietly, but he's just like no. Listen, we're on stable ground now. Padme's got he talks to Padme. He's like, if I stay, they're gonna look to me constantly. I know what I have to do. I know who I am. I love you, but I'm gonna, I'm only a holocall away, but there is a lot of disturbances in the Force that I felt in the Outer Rim or whatever. So I'm gonna go there. There's work to be done out there. Maybe a couple of Jedi go with him. I don't know if I want Ahsoka to stay or to go. Kind of like you said, I don't know if I want Ahsoka and Maul with him.
Okay.
Or if I want at least Ahsoka to stay, because in my head also, he doesn't let Leia and Luke be trained by Obi-Wan and Yoda.
No,
he's got to
do it himself.
He sees not even. He sees in Ahsoka that she's always been, well, maybe not always, but that she's more balanced than he was. Mm-hmm. She had because she was a product of Anakin, but also a product of Obi-Wan. So she's a little bit more balanced because she's not as powerful as Obi-Wan. Oh, excuse me, as Anakin, but she's not as adherent to the rules as Kenobi. So he sees in her. He says, "Snips, I'm gonna go do this. It's not goodbye. It's see you later. I need you to take these two and work on them. I'll be back. I'll help out, but you're better at X, Y, and Z than I am. I want you to do it. Uncle Obi-Wan's there for a couple of lessons. Same for Yoda, but you're their master."
You kind of get this.
I think he'd get rid of that term too, because that's a sore spot.
Yeah, you kind of get this. She's training them. He comes back around. Daddy's home. Where almost like a firehouse or something, where the kids spend so much time there. They're like the guys he works with are considered like their uncles. So I could see Luke and Leia being raised that way. That makes sense to me. That balances out. You definitely don't want Obi-Wan and you don't want Yoda training them, because even though as close as they were, they're still part of the problem. Mm-hmm. He still sees them as the old order.
Yeah. And
not the new order.
Exactly. And he's not even sure if there should be an order or if there should just be training. Mm-hmm. Because, he wants balance. He doesn't want it to be complete chaos, but he doesn't want it to be stranglehold like the Jedi have had. You can't have attachments, this and that. He is really becoming the gray Jedi. Like how to jump genres for a minute. In comics, in Batman, Dick Grayson was, according to the Court of Owls, the Gray Son. Grey's son.
He is clever.
Yeah, and clever. That's the way Anakin is the Grey Jedi,
yes.
or he is the Scion. He is the Force. He is the embodiment of, because of his experiences now, he's a truly balanced light side and dark side user. He'll heal your wounds, but he'll also force choke you if you get in his way.
A good analogy, anagram for him would be Keanu Reeves from Matrix, where after the first movie, now he's the chosen one. He returns back to Scion, and they're giving him bowls of fruit, they're throwing flowers at his feet, and he's walking through with his duffel bag, and he's like, yeah, no, thanks, not for me. Please stand. Like, you ever see Coming to America?
Yes.
I cannot believe it. Please stand up. Please. We're in Madison Square Garden, please. You don't have to.
Yep.
I'm a loyal citizen of Zamunda, and please stand up.
Or like T'Challa when Rhodey punks Bruce Banner and he goes to bow and he's like, well, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
We don't. No. Anakin's like, no. We don't. Get up.
Yeah.
Get up.
That's over. I'm not your master. I'm not your leader. I look. You appreciate what I did. I appreciate what you did.
Yeah.
And
team effort.
Everyone up. Everyone up. Pick your heads up. No bowing. Pick up your fruit. Pick up your flowers. You're making a mess. So I kind of see something like that with like Neo from The Matrix, from the second movie.
I like it. That's good.
Now, where ultimately, because we're running kind of long now, where do we take this? Where does this end? I have an idea. I have an idea of another absolute point that everything we discussed doesn't change. As wildly as we changed it, it's just one thing that doesn't change.
Yeah. I mean, to me, maybe ultimately it could cut, Anakin's doing his wandering thing. Mm-hmm. I can't remember, is it Darth Plagueis is the original Sith?
Darth Plagueis is Palpatine's master. So Palpatine was born and raised on Naboo.
Hang on, not Darth Plagueis then. Damn it, I can't think of his name. It's the guy that everybody always fan casts Keanu Reeves as playing as a Sith. All right, we'll figure it out later. Maybe Steve, pause it here and just randomly chime in and say it's Darth
Revan.
Whatever. But anyway, the guy that everybody says Keanu Reeves should always play.
You're talking about the
ancient
one.
Sith.
Okay.
Like, or the original Sith, or maybe he's the original guy who set up the rule of two. He's one of those things. Mm-hmm. Maybe some big bad Sith like that, because of the vacuum that was instantly created and the dark side energy that was created when Sidious bought it. Maybe that awakened something, and you say there was Sith magic, and this original guy, we'll call him Keanu until we get the right name. Keanu's, the spark of his dark soul is awakened by this, and he starts reamassing himself. He fights his way back because that's just what I want him to do. Then
you and I are
that becomes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Finish. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, and then pretty much that's where we go. And then we see a Jedi, or I gotta stop saying Jedi, but then we see Anakin and his Greys and versus this guy again, and we kind of have a real light side, I'll just say light side, dark side war, which we haven't seen on film. We've seen it in the video games, in the Old Republic, I think it was.
Old Republic, yeah.
But that to me would be where it goes. I don't want to see politics anymore. I want to see red and blue lightsabers, maybe a purple, going at it, ultimately, because I don't necessarily need. It can just be a battle over good and evil, but I don't want to just go right back and say something happened and now it's still it's the rebels versus an empire. I'm not circling back into episodes 4, 5, and 6 territory.
No.
I want to keep going where Anakin, or maybe Anakin even stupidly awakens an ancient Sith somehow, kind of like, give him an Indiana Jones movie, and he opens up the temple and he's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and bring it all around.
While trying to amass knowledge to give the knowledge out, maybe he accidentally opens up a holocron and kind of like the Mummy. They opened up an ancient casket and look what he got.
Yeah, or Evil Dead. I was just reading from a book.
Yeah.
It was a book of human flesh, you moron. I thought it was old leather. It was so soft.
Next thing you know, the coat rack is dancing.
Yeah.
The trees are coming through the window.
So that's my rough where I would like to see it go. Let's lead into. I don't want to see all the evil machinations type. Well, excuse, I do, but I don't want it like Palpatine where it's all subtle and behind the scenes. Let's let's have an intergalactic war between dark and light side Jedi.
Nice.
I gotta stop saying Jedi.
They're not Jedi. Not Jedi.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Between the light and the dark, and everybody in the middle. This even opens up. If you've introduced people, I'll really shut up after this. You've introduced people that Anakin's with along the way who are now see themselves as gray. Because I don't know if Anakin should identify himself. That's another thing.
He might have sycophants. He might have guys who where he's wandering and he's doing his thing, and there's other Force sensitives that see him, and they're like, "We want to learn from you." And he's like, I'm busy. I'm doing my thing. It's like, no, but we're coming with you. And he's like, you can watch from a distance, and they make him like a Dalai Lama or like a chosen one, where now they're modeling themselves after him. He's not necessarily leading them.
Yeah.
But they're following.
Okay. I'm with it. So where do you go from where all the twists and turns we've created?
I think there's one character that's completely unaffected by all of this.
Okay.
I can't say that because I don't. Well, I'm going to say it, but someone will correct me. It's YouTube. I'm pretty sure it depends on where Palpatine was in his plans, because I'm not 100% sure on that timeline. If this happens before Revenge or if it happens during Hope. But there's one character that's not affected by any of this if it does happen before New Hope. Snoke. Snoke still survives. Snoke still happens. I believe that Palpatine had to have some kind of contingency. Palpatine knew his body was already degrading. The guy is probably in his 60s by the time Revenge of the Sith happens. So there might have been some kind of clone plan already. There might have been some kind of contingency if he would have bite it, because he was so far into it. If he had Cinder already and he had Order 66, that had to be some backup plan. I think Snoke still exists. I think Snoke is still some kind of influence. There's still those dark acolytes that are underground and believing in the Order of the Sith, and maybe they're not even so much Sith acolytes as much as they're Sidious Palpatine acolytes.
Right. Huh.
And I think that I'm not confident enough in giving the story of where Snoke goes, because at this point they probably never meet Han Solo. They never end up back. They never end up back on Tatooine. He hates sand. Why would he go back? So they never end up back on Tatooine. They never meet Han Solo. Leia never meets Han Solo. There's no Ben Solo. Without creating a brand new character, I don't know where Snoke would go.
There's also no more Rey.
There's no more Rey.
Yeah.
Where does this go? I can't without sitting down and this is just us talking, rambling, if you will.
If you will. Ah.
I can't see Ben Solo happening again. I can't see them running into Han Solo. I was just talking off the top of her head. If I'm not sitting down with a pen and paper and putting down ideas, I can't make up an original character. But I still believe Snoke happens regardless. Okay,
so Snoke happens, and then because Snoke was the puppet.
Yes.
You think I'm Palpatine is done, by the way.
Yeah.
In my head. Okay, So now he's not a puppet anymore. Maybe he has to grow and learn on his own, and so he could even be searching for knowledge and unlock an ancient Sith. If you're okay with that, like ultimately, so Snoke, regardless of who does it, for you Snoke, for me an ancient Jedi. Damn it, an ancient Sith. I do the same thing with my nieces and nephews. By the way, I call them all each other's names, and then eventually I get it right. I
still think Snoke should be a dirty clone of, like an imperfect clone of Palpatine.
Okay.
That's what I was getting at. I'm sorry if I didn't make that so clear. I still think the Sith acolytes, or the Palpatine acolytes, who are working in the shadows after Palpatine's already dead, I think Snoke is still an imperfect clone. So
I got you.
And he's raised under different... now he's raised by, like, the church of Palpatine, if you will.
Right.
So it's not Palpatine himself who's physically there, who's physically... Maybe he actually taught him, or maybe he was given guidelines to the acolytes to teach him. Now it's the dogma that is Darth Sidious.
Okay.
And he's kind of raised in that.
Do you still end up where I end up, in that I want a war between the light and the dark, with Anakin, at this point an older Anakin, and older Luke and Leia at his side, old Ahsoka, him. I want to see that, where it kind of, now everything we've discussed, this huge war again between the light and the dark happens, and when the dust settles from that one, now we have some sort of true new Force order.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I even like the idea of combining it, of having, instead of having Anakin accidentally awaken, you have Snoke be the one who awakens it. The ancient evil. And then maybe both sides come together because he realizes he's in it over his head.
Maybe. That can work too.
Yeah,
But yeah, and the thing is, it's just... It's about, like, having the good stories again.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. That's all I want, is I want a good story. I don't want to be ham-fisted things. I don't want to have things like, man, I just want it force-fed to me. I want it to be good. I just want it to be good. Just a good, and honest story.
I do want to, obviously, because I'm sure somebody 5 seconds into this whole thing said, wait a minute, why didn't they correct it after episode 6? Well, that's next episode, guys.
Yeah.
No, we're not saying we hate 4, 5, and 6.
No.
But this is just what we chose to do. But no, I mean, yeah, good stories and good ideas. And then again, Star Wars is so huge. We have the Western in The Mandalorian. And we have, like, you know, obviously we're pretty much saying that Anakin is the Mandalorian, or at least I am, because I'm saying I want him walking around. Yeah. But this is different because he is still bringing order. He's not just, he's being proactive. He's not just moving through as things are happening to him, in my head. So...
touching back on fixing, 7, 8, and 9. I think 1, 2, and 3 hit a different point for us because of, sorry to out you, we're in our mid-30s, and we're nearly 40 years old talking about toys and comic books. But when little little known fact. Anthony and I have seen 1, 2, and 3 in theaters together as teenagers. So it hits
episode 2 and 3.
We didn't see Phantom Menace together?
We didn't know each other for Phantom Menace.
Oh, Phantom Menace was not... Oh, we just started high school.
Phantom Menace was like 98, 99.
99.
So, but anyway,
regardless.
I'm a stickler for... Anyway, yeah, 2 and 3, and we were jaw-dropped after Yoda takes on Dooku.
Yeah.
But anyway, I apologize. Go on.
And so now you have that, and it hits a different point for us, because we were raised... I had an older cousin, you have an older brother. We were raised with A New Hope, Empire, Jedi, but we were raised from like a different perspective. This 1, 2, and 3 were actually we were able to make our own by seeing it in theaters, by being part of that experience as it happened, standing online. We weren't dressed up, but there were definitely other people there in Jedi robes and lightsabers and masks with blasters and all kinds of stuff. And I think not that Not that we don't want to fix it. Not that I don't want to, I don't want to crap on anything J.J. Abrams did. I don't want to crap on anything that Ryan Johnson did, although we should.
I was going to say, I will. So you can sign off, and I'll just rant for the next 2 hours about that.
But what I'm getting at is, as much as we would like to, I think those 1, 2, and 3 are more important to us culturally because of where we were.
I would agree with that.
Because of where we were when it happened.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
The same way my nephew. I have a 12-year-old nephew, and he likes the newer movies. Not necessarily his fault.
Yeah.
He's raised on his father's older stuff. We're all around the same age. He's raised on his father's older stuff. And this is turning into a ramble. I'm sorry. Raised on his father's older stuff, and now he's watching Ninja Turtles. Now he's watching He-Man. Now he's watching Thundercats. All this stuff, Star Wars.
Ho.
Yeah, ho! All the stuff that we were brought up on while it was happening or just after it happened. He's taking in that stuff the same way we took in Star Wars. The same way we took in A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi. But now instead of Phantom, Clone War, and Sith being our movies, he's got these new ones.
Yeah.
So I'm a little softer on my opinion of those movies than probably what I should be.
Yeah, maybe. I'm probably too harsh. Who knows? But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. 1, 2, and 3 are Star Wars movies. 4, 5, and 6, like you said. So yeah, yeah, that's why we did this, because those are ours.
Yeah, that's what it came down to.
Yeah, because actually, yeah, the same way 4, 5, and 6 to us are, we can complain about 1, 2, and 3 because they're ours. 4, 5, and 6 were the older hand-me-downs that were just perfect because they had so much lore around them. Mm-hmm. They had so much love already poured into it. And then, we experience 1, 2, and 3 live, so we can be, wait a minute, yeah, but you're not holding up to the standard.
Yes.
In the same way that now, honestly, I feel, 7, 8, and 9 don't hold up to the standard of 1, 2, and 3 or 4, 5, and 6. So,
no.
Yeah. But, yeah. So I think we've completed our first snap. What do you say?
Yeah. You wanna sign off? Give the people a little something.
Want to?
I don't want
to know. Yes.
I'm probably gonna call you as soon as we get off as soon as we're done recording.
Yeah.
But I guess give Archer a little sign off. Tell him what the live show is. I'll say goodnight to you guys from the Belfry. And I would love to do this again. So if you like the idea of us snapping and making your favorite pieces of media balanced as all things should be, maybe you can give us a piece of media, or you can give us a absolute or a nexus point that you want us to start from. We'll look into it, and to be part of the Nerd Affiliate family, maybe we can get back in there and do this again. Had a really good time.
Yeah, me too. I think we're going to be doing this again pretty soon. Like he said, he's live from the Belfry. I'm live from Gotham City. HeyArcher Live, Thursday nights, 8 o'clock-ish. Come for the technical issues, stay for all the fun we have once those are ironed out. And, yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Later. And cut.